This segment brought to you by the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center in Oakley.
Well, here we are, from snow to snakes. It has been an incredibly brutal winter, and spring is wreaking its own havoc across the plains. I was reminded that weather is not the only thing to watch as spring warms the prairies. Just the other day, a friend out hiking spied a snake. Good grief, we haven't even packed up the heavy coats and thick sweaters, and already it's time to watch for the creepy crawlies. For those of us that might forget how to identify one of the not-so-dangerous types from the potentially deadly types, a refresher is in order. For this, we turn to Emporia State University's The Kansas School Naturalist. This particular publication is from 1959 and authored by Robert F. Clark. These publications are a goldmine of information and insight into the natural world. I quote from the beginning of Mr. Clark's article and urge you to go online and read the rest and order these publications. From Mr. Clark. Many persons either do not know anything at all about the poisonous snakes of our state or have a distorted group of misconceptions concerning them. These misconceptions run from plain misknowledge about the range or identification of poisonous snakes to fancifully elaborate stories in which there may or may not be the barest thread of fact. The prime reason that every person should know the poisonous snakes of this region by sight and know something about their habits, distribution, and abundance is that it will ease the mind of the average individual in all of his outdoor pursuits. Most persons have heard so many false stories about snakes, they develop a fear of all snakes. This fear is unfounded. A person who knows what poisonous snakes he can expect to encounter in a given area need only to learn to identify these and realize that all other snakes, lizards, frogs, toads, salamanders, and turtles do not have a poisonous bite, and therefore he need not fear them. With a knowledge of the poisonous snakes, a person can avoid places where these snakes might be found. Another aspect is the conservation of snakes. Too many people kill snakes just because they happen to be snakes. This is uncalled for. A non-poisonous snake should no more be killed than a songbird. In many cases, the harmless snakes are of direct economic value. In general, all snakes are similar in habits. In Kansas, they retire for the winter in places where the temperatures will not get below the freezing point. These may be in rocky ledges, beneath the soil, below the roots of trees, or in protected places of human design, such as grain bins, cisterns, cellars, and silos. With the warm days of spring, the snakes emerge from their winter quarters and set about finding food and mates. After mating, the sexes separate, and each individual snake goes its own way to forage for food for the rest of the year. Some snakes lay eggs, and others produce the young live. There is about an even division of these types in Kansas. The king snakes, rat snakes, bull snakes, racers, and many smaller snakes lay eggs in early summer. These eggs are deposited in a spot suitable for hatching, generally beneath a rock or in the soil. When they hatch, the young fend for themselves. In Kansas, water snakes, garter snakes, poisonous snakes, and some smaller snakes give birth to living young in late summer or early fall. Again, the young are on their own after birth. With the coming of cooler weather, snakes leave their summer feeding grounds and travel to places where they will hibernate for the winter. Probably no other group of animals has had the variety and expanse of tall tails credited to them as have the snakes. As the stories go, there are snakes that can put their tails in their mouths and roll downhill hoop-like. Snakes that are capable of milking cows dry. Snakes that fly into pieces when struck and later reassemble into whole snakes again. snakes that charm their prey, and others too numerous to mention here. 4 of the many untruths about poisonous snakes are: 1. Rattlesnakes cannot cross a horsehair rope. They can. 2. Cottonmouth water moccasins cannot bite underwater. They can. 3. Rattlesnakes always rattle before they strike. Not always. 4. The rattles present on the tail of a rattlesnake indicate the snake's age. No. A new segment is added each time that the skin is shed, which may occur several times during a year. The non-poisonous snakes far outnumber the poisonous kinds, both in number of species and individuals. In the United States, there are approximately 95 species of non-poisonous snakes and only 19 species of poisonous ones, including 15 rattlesnakes, 1 copperhead, 1 cottonmouth, and 2 coral snakes. In Kansas, there are 6 species of poisonous snakes, 2 should hardly be counted, and 34 species of non-poisonous snakes. Many of the non-poisonous species are common and widespread. It is far more probable that any snake seen is non-poisonous rather than poisonous. Welcome to Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in Oakley, Kansas on I-70 at exit 76. I-70, after all, is America's Main Street, and we're right here on Main Street for you. Now that I'm an Oakley resident, I still come in almost every day, and I sit and listen to the conversations of the people around me. You know, the guys who are talking about the big elk they just bagged, or the folks who are taking their kid to college for the first time. People just traveling up and down the highway. Real people, just like you and me. And they find just what I find here, real people to serve them. There's history, there's scenery. We hope you'll stop and see us soon. Welcome to Oakley.